Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. I am Shanieri Eze from Eze Health Center. I am joined tonight with these two fabulous ladies, Alina Renee and Alina Watkins. We are coming together tonight. Yes. Hey, ladies. We're coming together tonight to talk about the She Is Well Volume 2 book. It is due out for release this month. So we are excited. Yes, yes.
Yay!
I am so pleased to be chosen as a contributing author, along with Alina and Delana being the visionary behind this great project. So yeah, I would like to go ahead and start with introductions. Starting with Delana, if you could tell us a little bit about who you are, what was your vision behind this book?
Absolutely. So, first of all, thank you both for saying yes to this amazing global project. This is, as you said, the She Is Well project, and this is the second volume in this anthology. The first one was just so amazing, like we had to do it again, right?
Right.
So it started out with a vision, and I shared that it was supposed to launch. It was supposed to be just a book about just wellness because that's always been the center of my life. And I was going to release it when I turned 50 last year in August, and had this whole thing planned out. And I just could not get this to flush out of my head and onto paper. And it was because it was bigger than me and it wasn't just supposed to be about me. And so that's how the vision of me getting other women to share their stories. The first volume was Power, Strength, and Wellness. And then the second volume, which is the one we're talking about tonight, is Hope, Healing, and Happiness. And those are just stories that each of you ladies share in as well, that just helps to inspire, heal, and transform another woman who may be facing either the same or similar situations. And so the She Is Well project was just kind of birthed really out of that tribe. And we've just all kind of locked arms with one another and really just feel like, when you tell a woman your story, you feel like that they know you. They're now your sister, right? And so that's part of what the She Is Well project and the She Is Well tribe is about.
Awesome, awesome. And thank you again for, asking me to be a contributing author. It's definitely an honor. So Alina, tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got started in this project as well.
Okay, hello everyone. As Shanieri has said, I am Alina Renee, and I am a master life coach. I am a speaker. I'm an author. I'm a mama. I'm a wife. I'm a Christian. Uh, I will tell you, to be perfectly honest, I have actually been watching Delana on Facebook. And I've been encouraged by a lot of the health advice that she gives and her consistency with giving it. And then as I was transitioning to be turning 50, I was like, oh, Lord, the body changing, things hitting and everything. And she started talking about these things. And then she posted something about She Is Well. And I'm like, you know what? On my vision board, I said I wanted to be part of an anthology. And to me, when my gut says, this is where you go, that's what my gut did. There was other anthologies that I was asked to do. And I said no. But when I saw hers, in my gut, it said, this is where your story is going to be best met. The impact is going to be greater, so share it. And the great thing about Delana is it wasn't like, she was just like, oh, you know what? I don't know her. No, I don't want to, so she had to trust me as well. And she did. And she even pushed me to write what I was not intending to write. So that is the beauty of this She Is Well project. I had to tap into something that I really wasn't going to talk about. And even my husband was like, you need to share it. I just never knew where it would fit. And here it was. And this was my time.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes. It's definitely been an experience just putting your story together, right? Because Delana asked us, share your story and your perspective and what you experienced. And when I say it was such a reawakening for me in a lot of ways, because I did have to explore both the good and the bad experiences.
Yes.
But how it eventually led to my growth and how it actually ended up working out for me in the end. So, my particular story, I'm talking about the balance of entrepreneurship and motherhood and how that shaped me as a woman, as a business owner, as a mother, and just kind of going through that transition. So I'd like to hear. I know, Delana, you also have a contributing element to the book as well. I want to hear a little bit about what your particular stories are about in this book.
Sure. So what I did for this volume, for volume 2, it kind of was supposed to be a little different. So of course, it's one of those things where you're always like in edification mode. This story was meant to kind of, I'm always doing something, trying to tie one piece to another. With this, it's Voices of a Sisterhood. And so it was actually supposed to be a combination of me sharing what sisterhood meant to me, along with 3 other women who have been in the Women's Wellness Lounge since day one. Wow. And unfortunately, life got in the way and they weren't really able to share their piece of it. And so I ended up just kind of sharing just a brief snapshot of Voices of a Sisterhood and what that meant, and that your sisters aren't necessarily born, are found within your family or born, to you in your family. So that's kind of like how it starts out. Me sharing about that I have a sister that's my, natural sister. However, along the way, I have locked arms with other women who I refer to as my sisters. And then I talk a little bit about and give gratitude to the 3 women, Rochelle, Tanya, and Angela, who are just 3 women who believed in my vision in the Women's Wellness Lounge. And for the last 10 years, they have never wavered or left my side. And so I talk about, just how powerful your sisterhood is and really trying to find your true tribe.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That's important. And Alina, how about your story?
My story is the door may be heavy, but open it anyway. And that is actually me discussing my situation with navigating abuse, domestic violence, and how I had to go through the process. And that's how my business is really based on everything that I went through. And it's so interesting when Delana said, she was going to be discussing sisterhood. I ended up getting a sisterhood, and I call them, my sister girls. And that helped me through that hope process, because I started gaining and allowing myself to be vulnerable. And vulnerability, you never realize how much you need to be vulnerable in order to, have those relationships with other women. Because when you're not being genuine, you're not being authentic. So it's just, so my story navigates the process of healing, and that it wasn't overnight, the process of hope, of getting myself back and forgiving myself, and then getting to that happiness.
Right. So and I know when I was developing my portion of the book, kind of keeping with those 3 themes, right? The hope, healing, and happiness, and how you go through these transitions. And again, the good and the bad, the challenges. Right. And then we all have those elements in each of our stories, our unique perspectives, and the particular trials and tribulations we go through, and how we kind of come out better in the end from that. So really kind of enveloping this idea of wellness. The book is called She Is Well. This is volume 2. So kind of understanding, like, what does it mean to be well? What is wellness? We hear that word a lot, and people interpret it different ways. Is it physical health, mental health, spiritual? Is it a combination of all things? So, like, what are your perspectives on, like, what is wellness to you?
Yeah, and I think you kind of really touched on that. And I always try to, which is why I think the She Is Well really speaks volumes, because it's not just talking about the physical, but that is what our first mind's eye thinks about when we hear the word wellness, or when we hear the word well. And we're thinking about that. One of the young ladies that was a contributing author in volume 1 did such a good job with her story. She was talking about digging wells, and she was referring to that there's layers to it, and it's not just all about your wellness. It's the mental, physical, spiritual, financial, relational. There's so many layers to us as individuals that really make us be well. And so it was very important to me to make sure that people understood that, and so that the book didn't just when you pick it up, it was, I would say to them, what you're holding in your hand can affect every fiber of your being, because it talks about the total person with She Is Well. So that was the goal. And that was why the cover even was so important to me, to not make reference to, someone looking a certain way or having a certain, this or that. It was just a woman who just really was just being free in all of her colorfulness, and in all of her layers as well. So really, when I chose the cover of the She Is Well book, that was what I was thinking. I didn't want women to pick it up and see something in particular. I wanted them to be intrigued by what they saw, and make them want to then read the stories in the book.
Right.
Yeah, I love the graphic, by the way. Absolutely.
It's beautiful
too. It's like one of those things where when I saw it, I was like, this is it.
This is it?
I truly, honestly, because you can envision something. And I mean, when I tell you, I hunt and pecked and looked and was just so particular about like what it was and what the meaning behind it was, and what I wanted you to feel, as the reader, when you saw it. All of that is so important. And so when I saw that photo, I was like, this is it. That is the one. And then, like, this is it. So it really sealed the deal. And when I unveiled the cover to the first authors in the first volume 1, they were going bananas. They were like, because we had a placeholder cover at first. It was just a woman that was like in the midst of growing or something like that. So it was a placeholder cover. And I said to them, this is not what you will see, or when the final book is printed. So I gave them a sneak peek, and they went wild. I was like, I did that.
So Alina, what is your idea of wellness?
My idea of wellness is, people being honest about where they are, where they're going, how they feel, why they feel that way. Having compassion that, hey, I might make a mistake, but guess what? I can fix it. It may not happen overnight, the fix, but it will happen. And also honoring your boundaries. I am big on honoring, whether it's your time, your money, your family, your feel, whatever your boundaries, how your boundaries lie. I think that is what wellness, encompasses for me, besides the fact of that holistic, because you can take those 3 things into everything: your finances, your health, your spirituality, your mental space, your physical space, and all the things above.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, you said a lot right there. Boundaries, authenticity.
Yes.
I mean, these are essential.
You clapping, Shinyeri. You were like,
I mean, Alina hit it on the head, because that is something that I personally right now am working on, is boundaries, knowing when to say no, or this is enough. I cannot, because I think that's the challenge that we as women go through, is that we always want to come in and save the day. You know, I think a line in my book actually is something to the extent of saying, you know, we're often, you know, we become, I use the term super moms, when a lot of the times we have to save ourselves first.
Yes.
We want to think about everyone else. We're the nurturers. We do everything, and then we put ourselves last, and we break down. And because we haven't put those boundaries in place, it can become a real problem over time. Yeah. So I know both of you work with women a lot. I mean, what are some of the things and challenges that you think that are so unique to us as women, and kind of a recurring theme that women tend to deal with when it comes to our own wellness?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think oftentimes what we do is first of all, we place a lot of value on and our self-worth based on what we're able to produce and do. So I always say that sometimes our busyness is what we define as our as our worth and our value. And we don't stop for a minute to think, regardless of what you are producing, what is it that it's depleting from you, from all of that production. And so I find that women feel like, as long as I'm taking care of everyone and I can feel good about that, they forget about themselves. And I know we've heard that time and time again. But what I like to refer to women and say, you know, that definitely don't embrace your busyness with saying that you are valued more, because you can say that I'm great at doing that. And the quote that I put in the book and what I signed when I autographed the book is, this project is for every woman that understands that she is everything that came before her. So if we realize that everything that we've experienced is who we are today, those experiences have been deposited in us, good and bad.
Yes.
Is who we are today.
Oh yeah.
He is her.
Absolutely.
Period.
Like, Alina, is there anything you'd like to add?
Drop the mic.
It's a recurring theme.
Yeah, and it really is, because it's just so interesting that you said it like that, because I was going to say, not making decisions that align you with your vision of your life. You know, you already know, you need to work out, because you know what, your health might be a little flawed, but you're not making decisions so that you can do that, right? Or you know, you're not you know that you want that next promotion, and they said that, hey, you know, you need this certification, but you're choosing to go home and just sleep and not get the certification. Not aligning yourself with the vision that you have for your life. What are the things that you value, and are you making those decisions, those choices that align you with that? So it all just kind of encompasses the same thing.
That's good. That's good, Alina. That's real important. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think, you know, that's, I keep saying it's a recurring thing. Like we're talking, we're mentioning about things that we've experienced, and all of us are nodding our head like, yes. We as women experience. And I know, you know, within this book, and what I love about it, Delana, is that there's women from, you know, different walks of life, different backgrounds, professions, ages. And I think that brings a unique perspective. It makes it for a more interesting read, of course. So we're not having the same types of stories over and over. So I know, you know, we offer our unique perspectives, things that we've learned through our journey of life, and how we've achieved the state of wellness. Even the idea of wellness, right? To achieve it, it's something that we do have to sustain to some extent, right? So you can't just work out once and think, okay, I've exercised and I'm healthy now. It is something that we have to kind of continually invest in, right?
Committed.
And be committed in. So kind of share, in your unique stories, how you yourself have like achieved wellness and been able to sustain it in your life.
Yep. I think for me, outside of, and Shaniera, you're in healthcare, and, I've been in healthcare pretty much all of my life. And aside from just knowing what the benefits are, right? So it's one thing to know, like we all kind of know that if we don't pump our gas before the light comes on and it goes, we're going to run out of gas. So there's a thing of knowing, and then there's a thing of being able to have action behind what it is that you know, right? So we all realize that. And for me, it came when I was able to embrace, and always something either happens because of maybe an experience or something that you've witnessed or something that you have heard. For me, it was a combination of all three. And so I began to embrace and know that sustainable wellness comes when you realize that it is a lifestyle and it is a journey. Not something that you can say, yep, got that, I'm good. No, it is something that we continuously must pour into, that we must adopt and we must embrace. And we have to figure out, here's the key: turn up the volume and lean in. It is what you know and what you've embraced for yourself. It is not something that you see on Instagram. It is not something you see on Facebook. It is not something you see on Dr. Phil, Oprah, Ellen, or anywhere else. It is what you have done the homework, because that's where the real work is. It's when you put in the work to realize, what does the wellness look like for you in your life, in your walk, and what you're capable of doing.
Absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alina, how about you, as far as like what things do you feel have helped you achieve a state of wellness?
I will say simply, and it's so interesting that Delana actually pulled this quote out of my chapter, and that was holding on to someone else's, to someone else's behavior will, keep you, having you, it hold you into their chaos. It will have you having self-doubt, and you will also be feeling sad. So I have learned, period, your stuff is your stuff, mine is mine. I'm hefty bagging yours. I'm keeping mine, owning mine, working on mine. And that is how I deal. Because I'll tell someone quick, I don't have a capacity for that.
Yeah.
I do not have a capacity for that.
Right.
And having that honesty with myself and knowing and not taking people's stuff on you. Oh my goodness. I have grown up. I have grown up.
Yeah. That goes back to that boundaries that you talked about. And it goes back to the busyness I referred to. Busyness and boundaries. I no longer have to be defined by the amount of stuff that I'm doing. And I'm good with telling you that I don't have the capacity to do it.
Amen.
Right.
Yeah.
Point blank.
Right. Yeah.
And being totally okay with just being your authentic self and showing up as who you are. And that's what it is.
Yes.
So I mean, before we, kind of wrap up tonight, I don't know if you ladies did get a chance to do this, but if you had any particular excerpts or quotes from your submission in your book that you'd like to share that you think was the most impactful or poignant in your unique stories, did anyone do that homework tonight?
I know Alina did. I did.
How did you know?
He kind of gave the quote that I'd pulled out. So I guess she can go get on and repeat that quote.
So the quote that I actually just stated, everyone, actually came from my therapist. And I talk about her, her very non-judgmental way of how she handled me through the process. Because sometimes when you're dealing with someone that's, an executive or have a position of any kind of control or power or anything,
Mm-hmm.
we think differently.
Yeah.
We really do.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, my therapist said to me, simply like this: Laura allowed the silence to sit, but then she said in her non-judgmental voice, Alina, it's okay. Holding on to someone else's behavior will keep you in a place of chaos, self-doubt, and sadness. I looked at her defeated and said, I'm in charge of so much. Why is this happening to me? Why do I not feel worth
Mm-hmm.
anything? So that's just the gist
Yeah.
of, it's not the whole, but it's just the gist. And I think that quote, that right there, that statement has held true for
Mhm.
me for a very, very, very long time, up until this day.
Wow, that is powerful. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah, I have kind of a compilation of quotes. I'm conflating it a little bit here and
Okay.
really going on, with the theme of authenticity, setting boundaries, knowing who you are, being okay with your shortcomings as well. So, um,
Mm-hmm. It's important.
end quote. Eventually, I learned to embrace just being my best me, not comparing myself to others or how they do mommyhood, but being confident in who I am and what I'm capable of. Loving and caring for my children is the foundation of what it means to be a great mom. This pursuit of perfection was a tireless, unrelenting feat that creates a sense of inadequacy and defeat that I refused to accept. I had to first accept myself for my identity outside of the roles of mother and entrepreneur. Those were the positions I have, but that didn't define me as a person.
I like all of that. See, that's what, and that gives you just enough flavor. You know how when you cook and you put just enough seasoning on it?
Yeah.
What you guys just shared was just enough to say, yeah, I need to read that. I need to be a part of the
Yes,
She Is Well tribe. And so I'm
yes,
going to round this up by saying that my short little Voices of Her Sisterhood, because it's not really a chapter, it's just some of my thoughts really on sisterhood. And there was a part in there where I just mentioned it, and I say, I would meet and welcome some amazing sisters into my life, but not all were meant to stay forever. And so that really gives you some light into, even as you grow, that there are people, and I've heard this, and I'm sure you all have heard it, that sometimes some relationships are just meant for a season,
Yeah.
and that
yes,
person's season or that relational relationship did what it was supposed to do in that
Yeah.
season. And
Right.
so it kind of is a reference to that when I talk about Voices of a Sisterhood.
Right.
awesome. Ah, beautiful. I am excited. I am so excited. So, as we wrap up, Delana, if you could just share with the
Yes,
audience how can people get their hands on this book,
absolutely.
and be a
So
part of the She Is Well tribe?
yes. So we have 11 amazing authors in the book that you can, of course, get from them individually. They're doing pre-sales right now. For more information about the book and any upcoming promos about the book, you can go to sheiswellbooks.com. That's sheiswellbooks.com and find more information. But definitely stay tuned for our virtual launch, which is always like none other. I'm always doing something really, unique and different with the launch for the ladies, so that, tonight what you saw was really just a taste of what it means to share in the space of being She Is Well. So
Yeah.
I look forward to, those of you that are out there that are watching live and or watching the replay. Definitely connect with us. If one of the authors invited you tonight, follow up with them, get the book, share it. When you're done reading it, pay it forward and pass it along. This book really is meant to just meet women where they are and help hopefully propel them into their next.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight, ladies. It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I
certainly. And
appreciate
again,
you.
the website is www.sheiswellbooks.com.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night, ladies.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
You too.
Night.